So I've just got back from EMS in Telford and they have skimmed the face of the manifold for me, as well as the inlet manifold. The issue has been because it's been warped, and these especially, they've been faced like that. So as they've skimmed it, you've naturally got a thicker part here and a thinner part here. Similar with these as well. Because it was the centre one that was sitting shallow, these two have become slightly thinner. But it's nothing to worry about. There's still plenty of meat on the bones on those. But the main thing is they are level. So next for me is to put the exhaust manifold back onto the turbo. We've got 3 studs that face down, and we've got 1 face up, because as you'll see on the GT17, you'll never get a nut in there. Some people before have shaved in here to get one in, but it's just as easy to go the other way and thread this and then bring it up to the top. So what I've used before in the past is these copper coated steel nuts. These work really well. They've got a bit of a lock on there, and on one of them that I can only just get in the back end, I use one of these, and believe it or not, these used to be copper colour, but that shows you what the heat's done. So also add a bit of copper slip. Anything to do with the exhaust and the heat of the exhaust, get yourself some copper slip. Same with these. So the studs that go onto the downpipe for it, these have got copper slip as they've gone in. And it just helps that should I have to pull it apart again, I'm not fighting studs that potentially will snap or gall. So there we go. Time to put it on. Get in and show you if you can see. I don't know, darkness might be our enemy here. There's 3 nuts, 13mm nuts, that put like a triangular piece for the downpipe to go onto the turbo. 2 of them very easily accessible. 1 at the top, 1 just to the side, and 1 underneath. Now typically it couldn't be easy, so I have to go from underneath the car. So to jack the car right up, put it on axle stands, remove the downpipe. So if you imagine the turbo's got a turbo elbow, and then it's got a downpipe. So I have to remove the downpipe so I can get my skinny little wrist up there with a ring spanner and turn it just ever so slightly a bit at a time. Managed to get them done. All torqued up nicely. One of the biggest problems I had with this, that I don't know if I mentioned before, the exhaust nut on the back there. So all 6 of them have got to be 20 Newton meters, I think, or 20 foot-pound. It's 20 foot-pound, that was right. 20 foot-pound of torque. Now I did them up to FT, which I won't translate because probably I'll get demonetized. So I have now done the outer ones to 20, and the next set in, they're the ones I can reach. Now these, as you can probably see, are really painful to get to. So what I've done, because every Mini owner should have one of these at some point, is I took a 13mm spanner and I ground it down, and I ground the edge down too. And I think there's just enough material on there, so when I go to do these nuts up, I can just get them on and give them a pinch. And that's all they really need, especially the centre one, just needs a pinch. So, as well as, you see, you start making tools over the years, and that one, that was an Imperial one, which I ended up turning into a metric, because it's really small and I can get to things really well. But drawer full of random tools that I've had to make, because, you know, Mini. Right, it's all on now. I've checked the fluids, I've topped up the coolant, because it's an MPI, it's a pain in the arse to bleed. So let's try and give her a start. So before I even get in the car, I'm going to open the garage door because I'm not gassing myself out. Not this time anyway, or again. Right. Ugh, why did I put the keys on that? Oh, come here, you. Right, I think I'm going to go and grab the laptop. We'll go from there. Okay, so I've had a bit of play with the cold start. yeah, it needs a lot of fuel. I can't stress this enough. And you'll know that if you've got a carb, you've got to pull the choke right out when it's very cold. So I've been having a play, and I've increased the fuel cranking. So imagine when you start the engine, that's how much fuel it's throwing in whilst it's cranking. You also get something called a fuel prime pulse. So as the fuel's priming, that's how long they're open for, just to spray and wet those walls full of fuel. So I've had to increase that as well. You can't underestimate how much fuel is actually needed to start an EFI engine. It's the same with the carb as well. They need so much, because you get something called wall wetting, where the fuel hits the side of the manifold, and rather than it staying as a spray, it then condenses into tiny little droplets, and tiny little droplets do not burn. So the spray is needed. So what you have to do is overcome those droplets and power it through the spray. So you need a hell of a lot more fuel. So give that a go and give it a whirl. Let's see if she'll start on the key now. Bit ropey, but hey, she started. So if I go back to the base, you can see everything's now lit up, so it's doing stuff. The lambda sensor's warming up. There we go. So it's now got itself into having a think, and as you'll see, it's pulling fuel and adding fuel where it needs to be, and the long term's doing the same thing as well. It's taking all this information and going, hey look, you're actually adding a lot of fuel in this cell, so I'll add it. It does these calculations really quickly, and I know it's a bit all over the place, but idle is a pain, and so is a 5-port, so stay with me. Right, let's back the car out. I hope you can all hear me, otherwise this is a bit of a wasted effort on the filming. But so far so good. I got her up to temperature on the drive, double checked the coolant temperature, and I can see it directly anyway in front of me. But everything's going alright so far. I still get a bit of knocking going over tiny little bumps, but I have had the suspension off this car so many times. I built it myself. So I know that everything's new and everything's been taught to spec. So it is a bit of a misdemeanor on that, which I'm still trying to get my head around. Some people have said that it may be the fact that the floating discs are rattling around on the bell. I don't know, but it does sound a bit like, those of you old enough, it sounds like a bit of an old 90s skateboard at times. But going along, I'm doing a data log as we go. So I'm just heading down towards the motorway so I can give her a bit of a blast, so you can hear some turbo whooshy noises. So get the oil temperature up. I tend not to give it a blast unless the oil temperature sees above 70 degrees, because too cold an oil is just as bad as a too hot oil. I can't stress that enough, guys. So take your time when you're warming up these little engines. And if you haven't got an oil temperature gauge on your Performance Mini, I would so utterly suggest it. But yeah, we'll get ourselves onto the motorway, because I've got cruise control to try as well. Yep, cruise control, as I mentioned in the last video. But yeah, give me a sec and we'll be there. So as this is an MPI with a death wish, I've got a 3.1 final drive on it. So I'm doing about 60 miles an hour at 3,500 RPM, and it's a bit bouncy, you can hear it in my voice. So the turbo tends to start spooling about 3,000, so at 4,000 RPM. I've got it in low boost at the moment, so I'll overtake this lorry.
know if you guys could hear that, so it tends to be going between about actuator pressure is 8 psi and about 18 psi. Now it's targeting 15, so hopefully the log will show what's wrong with it there. So I'm going to try, dare I say, 20 and see what it does. It might hit boost cut. No, doing the same thing as well. You heard it, it's just going to and from that boost. So what I'll do is I'll go back to 12 psi, get the foot down, and that's kind of doing the same. So between all three boost settings, there's something quite wrong. So if I turn the boost off completely, well, boost settings off, and this goes back to actuator, I put my foot down, and that's holding 8 psi perfectly. So bit of thinking. But anyway, we're here for the cruise control. So I'm going to arm it. Set it. See what she does. Well, feet off. She's holding it nicely at 60. If I go up a bit. Yeah, that's going alright. So if I go up a little bit more. So every time I push, it goes up on a 1 mile an hour increment. So the car slowly catches up. So now I'm at 65 at 3,500 RPM. And she seems really happy. And that's all it really needs to be. Because I'm going to places like Himley or Stamford, which is a fair old drive for me. Especially like on the M6. Well, those of you in the UK know, M6 is a hellish motorway. So that's perfect for me. I really enjoyed that. So yeah, I'm going to get the car home and we'll go and have a look what's wrong.
Some of you may want to skip over this because it's going to get geeky. So what we've got on the top here is the throttle position in the dark yellow. In the lighter yellow is the manifold pressure. Underneath it, these are your PID. I won't do anything on those, but I'll kind of try to explain it as I go along. And underneath it is what the ECU is doing in terms of the control state, as in what's it doing. And then below here is just the target pressure. So if I move the target pressure up and put it in the other cell, so we can get a little bit more clarity. You should see better. So the red line is where I should be, and the light line is where I'm not. So you can see, as I was driving, it was going high boost, low boost, high boost, low boost, high boost, low boost, and then I buggered off there because I came off throttle. So what it's doing as a closed loop system is it's supposed to be going up to that and then following that line as best to its ability. So what I've seen in here, so I've had to translate this. So 0 is the boost controllers off, 1 is the turbo spooling, and 2 is its closed loop. 4 is overboost, and 3, oop, I've caught that. Sorry, and 5 I should say. So it goes, apologies, so it goes 1, 2, 4, 5. So 1 spooling, 2 is closed loop, 4 is overboost, and 5 is what they call too much derivative, which you can see in the whitishly blue line here. So it's gone over what it's been programmed to do, and here as well, and it's thrown to say, hey, there's too much derivative here. Same with that one, it's come down. So what it's basically doing is it's oscillating, which for a PID controller, proportional is how quickly it can get to the target pressure. So it's got there quite quickly, but it's overshot it. It's overshot it and come back again. So what I need to do is increase the proportional and get rid of the derivative, because there's a joke with engineers is D, derivative, stands for do not use. So I'm going to take the derivative out, and then I'll go back and experiment with just the proportional to see if I can get close to it. And if it's a bit oscillating, then bring it back. But I can also use the integral to smooth it out. Problem is, if you use too much integral, it then comes away from the target. So I hope that makes a bit of sense. I'll give it a go. So I've just got back from a drive. I didn't film it on that one. There was a lot of stop-starting whilst I was driving, doing small little adjustments to the PID settings. what I've decided to do now is I'm going to try and get it to a rolling road. There's a place near me that has got a rolling road, so I'm going to speak to them and hopefully get some footage of it. But it really needs to get onto a steady state, somewhere you can monitor it and use the laptop at the same time. Driving it, stopping, doing some adjustments, driving it again, it's a pain in the backside, especially in and around traffic as well. It's not ideal and it's potentially quite dangerous, so I've decided to knock that on the head. So hopefully there'll be some rolling road footage in the near future as well, hopefully finally getting a power figure down for this car. So at the moment what I've done is I've put it back to what we call open loop, so it's not, the ECU is not trying to target something. I'm basically telling you need to have that much duty, which equals that much power, that much boost. It's a bit all over the place because the way in which it's all plumbed and the lengths of the line, air moves about, it compresses, etc. So at the moment, like say for example, I've got the duty set for 15 psi. When I put my foot down, it'll spike to 15. It'll come down to about 14, and then it may go back up to 15. And it's not solid, which is what I want. Maybe that's the OCD, the anal side of my brain. Who knows? But for the moment, it's driving absolutely fine. The car's pulling really, really well. It's driving nicely. So yeah, stick around. Hopefully get some rolling road stuff in the future. And yeah, thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you in the next one.